Hello everybody, this is our Ford Escort. You remember we tried to fit some suspension parts, we made it. Our new arms are on the car. Now it's time to fit this front mask on the car. This is it. Sorry, like this. Okay, this shouldn't be a big deal because this is a brand new part and the purpose of this video is how to do it. Let me explain to you a few tricks of welding and preparing the parts for welding, because this part is zinc plated and it doesn't like welder. So where to grain, how to mark, and how to fit on the car, and what to be ready to expect if something goes wrong. And whatever can go wrong is already wrong. The first thing is observe. Observe the car, observe the spare part that you have. The first problem that we welders have is how to approach with the welder, with the grinder, with the drill or whatever. So I have to determine where to go first. There is a few lines and this piece of metal lives on this frame, right? And there is some contact surfaces. Now I have a task to determine where to drill holes so I can weld with my welder, and later when I weld, how to grain it. This is a visible part of the car, and when you open the bonnet, you can see all these bits and pieces. So if I drill a hole here, that means that I have to weld here. But later I have to grain. And there is a possibility that I can damage this or this or this, and I don't want that. And here you can see the old marks from the factory, and I want to preserve them. That means that I'm gonna drill holes here onto this piece of metal every 2.5 centimeters or inch. That means that I'm gonna weld from this side. But before I start to weld, I must be sure that all these surfaces are clean metal. So the first thing is put your part on the car and observe where and how. Let's see how that looks like. Now, I'm in the car, in the engine bay. So the front mask is approximately on the place where it should be. I'm happy with the position of this wing, but I'm not happy with this wing because there is a slight difference. So that means that I cannot weld on very edge, on the corners, here right and left, but here somewhere in the middle I can, because all these linings are more or less fine. I have to have on my mind that these old parts are old, and they are a bit curved during the process of sandblasting and beating with the hammers and repairing the other parts. So the welds are devils. Every time when you weld, it pulls left and right, and this can be a result, like wrong position. But the mask fits good, and the edges of the masks are lining up with this part of the car, which is good. But I decided to weld, to attach this mask only here and from inside, which means that these parts of the mask will still be flimsy, which is good. So later I can set them up and line them up with the wings on the very, very edges of these corners. Before I do that, I will ask my cameraman to come here so I can show you how we will determine where to drill holes and where to start with the welding. As I said on the beginning of the video, I'm gonna drill holes here, 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 etc. on the very edges, on this surface, contact surfaces, and I'm gonna attach this mask on this old frame first on that places. So my job is to grind all this and to grain the surface below, and then put few tags. You see this and this. So this piece of tin is closed and this piece of tin is open. So it always can be adjusted a bit, push left or right. Only concern is this nut, which is welded here, and that nut supposed to be here, or this hole supposed to be there. This is aftermarket part, so my job is to shim this a bit, so whatever bolt goes through this to have some place to not kick the piece of tin. That's all small pieces of job that you have to pay attention before it's too late. Later we'll sort up the angles of the wings. There is one surface here. Inside it's still not lined up, but first I have to create some tension to do that. Up to now I'm happy. Now I'm marking. You'll see when I flip the mask where I'm gonna drill the holes. This is contact surface. All right, this is gonna be some holes there. Here, also here and here we can attach, and on the very bottom. I'll do that later because now it's too early. God knows how deep it's gonna go inside. So, right. So now I have some lines here, which means that this part of the car, the weld is gonna go through this, and that weld is here somewhere. So now I will write like this. I'm gonna drill some holes. I'm gonna drill some holes in this area. I'm gonna drill some holes here, 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 and there. Then, when I do that, I will put my mask again on the car and try to get that surfaces as close as possible. If there is some gap, it's not good, we have to redo. So, stay with us. Right, lads, all these gigantic preparations for only 4 welds, 2 here, 2 there. Why? I have my holes on the place, they are nice and shiny, and I prepare, and the surface that I'm gonna weld this mask onto the car, it's prepared. But why I didn't weld this? Because if I weld that fully, I could make a big fuck up, because I don't have wings and I don't have this spare part on the place. So first I have to chop off this, fit this here, fit the wing, so I can see is all these shapes on the place, and then I can weld this. Otherwise, big disaster. Let's do it. Bojo helped me to fit the wings on the car, and we are more or less happy about it. We are not happy because there is more rust over there, which means that we cannot leave the wings on the car. We have to work around the pillars and etc., etc. But my face is good. We were talking about, is it going to be left or right or up and down, and then we figure out that more or less is good. But that's good to check something a couple times before you weld, because if you weld wrong, then you have to cut it, then you destroy the part and more problems. So next thing is I'm going to simply weld this. Will be more pulling, stretching, but that's part of the game. It's a dance, dirty dance. So you'll see the results. Thanks. See you in the next video.